The massive observation dome of Station Delta 9 stretched above Commander Sarah Chen's head, its transparent panels revealing the swirling purple storms of the gas giant below. Officially, the station monitored deep space radiation patterns. Unofficially, it was humanity's most advanced listening post, searching for signs of intelligent life among the stars. After 2 decades of silence, no one expected anything different today. The alert came during third shift, when most of the crew was asleep. A persistent signal, far too regular to be natural, broadcasting on frequencies that shouldn't exist according to known physics. Sarah's hands flew across the holographic interface, isolating the transmission source. Dr. Rodriguez, she called out to her chief scientist. I need verification on these readings. The older man shuffled over, his cybernetic leg whirring softly. He'd lost the original during humanity's first and only attempt to reach light speed, an experiment that had ended in disaster and set back their space program by decades. His eyes widened as he studied the data stream. This can't be right, he muttered, adjusting his antiquated glasses. The signal, it's using quantum entanglement principles we theorized but could never achieve. Sarah leaned forward, her heart racing. Source: edge of the Oort cloud. Something big is out there, Commander. Really big. Within hours, the station's powerful telescopes located the object. A massive vessel, clearly artificial, drifting in the void. Its design was unlike anything in humanity's database, but the markings along its hull stopped Sarah's breath. They were human letters, ancient and worn, spelling out Exodius RK-317. Impossible, Sarah whispered. Humanity had never built ships of this size, had never ventured beyond the solar system. Yet here was evidence that contradicted everything they knew about their own history. The signal contained more than just a beacon. As their AI systems worked to decrypt it, fragments of data began emerging. Star charts, technical specifications, and most disturbing of all, historical records. They told a story that shook the foundations of human civilization. We weren't alone in the galaxy. We had never been alone. Humanity had once been part of a vast interstellar community, our technology rivaling the greatest alien civilizations. But something had gone wrong. A decision had been made, not by humans, but by the other races. Earth was to be quarantined, isolated, its people stripped of their advanced technology, and their memories altered. The record spoke of a great betrayal, of fear among the alien races about humanity's potential. We were too innovative, too adaptable, too dangerous. Rather than risk future conflict, they had chosen to remove us from the equation entirely. But some had escaped the purge. The Exodus arcs, massive colony ships carrying millions of humans, had flowed into deep space. They had left behind beacons, hidden in the void, waiting for the day when Earth's humanity might rediscover their true heritage. As Sarah processed the implications, new data continued streaming in. Technical specifications for faster-than-light travel, quantum computing blueprints, defense systems beyond anything Earth's engineers had imagined. The Ark wasn't just a repository of historical truth, it was a gift from their forgotten kin, a chance to reclaim what was lost. Dr. Rodriguez, Sarah said, her voice steady despite the trembling in her hands, how long would it take to reach the Ark with our current propulsion technology? The scientist ran calculations through his tablet. 8 months, minimum. Assuming we could even get authorization for such a mission. Sarah stared at the massive ship displayed on their screens. We have to try. This isn't just about discovering our past. It's about securing our future. She activated the station's secure channel to Earth Command. This is Commander Chen requesting emergency protocol activation. Priority level Omega. We found something that changes everything. As she waited for a response, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The aliens who had betrayed humanity had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated human determination. Now, after centuries of enforced ignorance, humanity was about to remember who they truly were. And this time, they wouldn't be so easy to forget. In the hours that followed, Station Delta 9 became a hive of activity. Teams of scientists worked around the clock, analyzing the data streaming from the Ark. Each new discovery painted a clearer picture of humanity's lost golden age and the forces that had conspired to end it. The true scope of the betrayal became apparent as they decoded more historical records. Humanity hadn't just been quarantined. They had been systematically stripped of their achievements. The great libraries of human knowledge, the colonies on distant worlds, the networks of trade and diplomacy that had spanned the galaxy, all of it had been erased. But while the alien races could alter memories and destroy records, they couldn't change human nature itself. The very qualities that had made humanity dangerous, their creativity, their resilience, their unwavering drive to explore and understand, had survived the purge. In barely 2 centuries, they had rebuilt their civilization from scratch, once again reaching for the stars. As the first light of dawn crept across the gas giant storms, Sarah made her decision. Earth Command would take time to process this information, to debate and plan. But the Ark was out there now, calling to them. Humanity's lost heritage was waiting to be reclaimed, and Sarah Chen intended to answer that call, whatever the cost might be. 8 months felt like an eternity. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Pioneer, Earth's most advanced starship, watching as the Exodus Ark grew larger in their view screen. Even after all their preparation, the sheer scale of the ancient vessel took her breath away. It dwarfed the Pioneer, stretching over 20 kilometers from bow to stern. Final approach vector calculated, announced Lieutenant James Corey, their pilot. His dark eyes reflected the Ark's running lights, still somehow functional after centuries in the void. Ready on your command. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of history on her shoulders. Earth Command had debated for weeks before approving this mission. Some had argued it was too risky, that the signal might be a trap. Others feared what they might learn about humanity's past. But in the end, curiosity and determination had won out, qualities that, according to the Ark's records, had made humanity both great and feared. Take us in, Lieutenant. Nice and easy. The Pioneer's engines hummed as they maneuvered alongside the massive vessel. Dr. Rodriguez, who had insisted on joining the mission despite his age, monitored the sensor readings from his station, detecting stable atmosphere within the main hull. Power systems at 40% capacity. Incredible engineering for it to last this long. Sarah tapped her command console, bringing up the boarding team roster. They had trained for months, running simulations based on the technical data transmitted by the Ark. But simulation was one thing. Reality could be far different. Status of the reception team, she asked. Suited up and ready in Airlock 3, reported Security Chief Maya Patel. The former Special Forces operator had handpicked every member of the boarding party. We've drilled the protocols until they could do them in their sleep. Then let's not keep our ancestors waiting. Sarah rose from her command chair. Dr. Rodriguez, you have the bridge. Chief Patel, with me. The walk to Airlock 3 gave Sarah time to center herself. The magnitude of what they were about to do, to reclaim knowledge lost centuries ago, to uncover the truth about humanity's exile, it was almost overwhelming. Yet beneath the anxiety was a burning excitement. This was what humans were meant to do: explore, discover, push boundaries. The boarding team stood at attention as she entered. 6 of Earth's finest, each chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to think creatively under pressure. They would need both qualities today. Remember, Sarah addressed them, we're not just exploring a derelict ship. We're recovering our heritage. Everything we find in there could change the course of human history. Stay alert, stay focused, and stay curious. The docking procedure went smoothly, almost too smoothly, as if the Ark had been waiting for them. As the airlock cycled, Sarah checked her suit's readings one final time. The Ark's atmosphere was breathable, but protocol demanded they remain suited until they reached the main control center. The airlock opened to reveal a vast corridor, its walls lined with panels that lit up as they approached. Ancient symbols scrolled across displays, automatically translating themselves into modern English. "Welcome, children of Earth," a soft voice echoed through their comm systems. "Your return was anticipated. Emergency Protocol 317 is now active." Maya's weapon snapped up instinctively. "AI system." "Negative," Sarah replied, reading the data streaming across her helmet display. "This is a pre-recorded message system, triggered by our presence. The translation matrix is remarkable. It's learning and adapting to our current language in real time." They moved deeper into the ship, each step revealing new marvels. Laboratories filled with equipment centuries ahead of Earth's current technology. Libraries containing the accumulated knowledge of dozens of human worlds. And most incredibly, cryogenic chambers, hundreds of them, still active after all this time. "Life signs detected," announced Corporal Chenwei, their medical specialist. "They're in suspended animation, but they're alive." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. These weren't just historical records anymore. These were living witnesses to humanity's golden age, preserved through the centuries to help their descendants reclaim their birthright. The main control center was a cathedral to human achievement. Holographic displays sprang to life as they entered, showing star maps, technical schematics, and historical records. But it was the central terminal that drew Sarah's attention. A single message pulsed on its screen. "Initiate awakening sequence." Sarah took a deep breath. Everything would change with the press of a button. Earth's isolation would end. They would have to face the truth about their past and the alien civilizations that had tried to erase them from history. Her hand didn't tremble as she reached for the control. "Let's wake them up," she said. "It's time for humanity to remember who we are." The awakening sequence began with a low hum that resonated through the entire ship. In the cryogenic chambers, ancient machinery stirred to life, beginning the careful process of reviving those who had slept through centuries of exile. But as the first pods began their revival cycle, alarms suddenly blared through the control center. Multiple ships detected entering the system, Maya reported, accessing the Ark's sensor network. "Configuration unknown. Definitely not Earth vessels." Sarah's jaw tightened. Of course it wouldn't be this easy. Someone had been watching, waiting for humanity to rediscover their heritage. The real test was about to begin. "Alert the Pioneer," she ordered, "and get those pods accelerated. If these are the ones who exiled us, they're about to learn that humanity isn't so easily suppressed anymore." The race to reclaim humanity's future had begun. And this time, they wouldn't face it alone. The first of the sleepers awoke as alien ships entered weapons range. Dr. Diana Marshall opened her eyes after 3 centuries of suspended animation, her mind already racing with contingency plans. She had been the Exodus Ark's chief defense engineer, and her first words upon revival were not of confusion or disorientation, but of urgent purpose. "Status of the defense grid," she demanded, her voice hoarse from centuries of disuse. Sarah helped the woman steady herself as she emerged from the pod. "The Ark systems are at 40% power. We've got 8 unknown vessels approaching, no response to hails." Diana's eyes narrowed as she absorbed the tactical display. They're Nexus Concordat ships, the same ones who led the campaign to exile humanity. She moved to the weapons control station with surprising steadiness. They're here to finish what they started. The alien vessels were beautiful in their otherworldly design, all curved lines and iridescent surfaces that seemed to bend light itself. But their weapon systems were anything but elegant as they powered up, targeting both the Ark and the much smaller Pioneer. "Your ship needs to fall back," Diana ordered, her fingers dancing across the control panels. The Ark's defensive capabilities were specifically designed to counter Concordat technology. Sarah opened a channel to the Pioneer. "Rodriguez, get our ship behind the Ark. We're about to see what our ancestors could really do." The alien ships launched their first volley, streams of quantum-phased energy designed to bypass conventional shields. But Diana was ready. The Ark's defense grid hummed to life, and something remarkable happened. The incoming fire simply vanished. Quantum nullification fields, Diana explained with a grim smile. The Concordat thinks they're the masters of quantum mechanics, but humanity pushed those boundaries far beyond what they thought possible. We just kept it quiet. On the tactical display, the alien ships regrouped, clearly surprised by the failure of their opening attack. Their next volley was more conventional, plasma torpedoes and kinetic rounds that lit up space like artificial stars. The Ark's response was devastating. Points of light appeared around its massive hull, forming geometric patterns that Sarah recognized from ancient Hindu mandalas. Energy cascaded between these points, forming a web that caught the incoming fire and reflected it back at the attackers with doubled intensity. 2 Concordat ships disappeared in balls of plasma. A third spun away, its hull breached. "That's impossible," Maya whispered. "The energy calculations alone." "Impossible is what humanity does best," Diana replied. "It's why they feared us. We didn't just use technology. We reimagined it, combined it in ways they never considered. Their science was advanced, but it was rigid, bound by traditions and assumptions thousands of years old." More sleepers were awakening now, each bringing centuries of lost knowledge and capabilities. Sarah watched in awe as they took their stations, working with technology far beyond Earth's current understanding, yet somehow feeling familiar, like remembering how to ride a bicycle. The remaining Concordat ships began to retreat, but Diana wasn't finished. She brought up new controls, and the space around the Ark seemed to ripple. "They'll warn others," she said. "We need time to prepare, to help Earth remember and rebuild. Fortunately, we planned for this too." The ripples coalesced into a sphere of distorted spacetime around both the Ark and the Pioneer. Inside, time would flow normally. Outside, months would pass in what seemed like minutes to any observers. A temporal barrier. Sarah asked, recognizing the concept from theoretical physics papers. "Among other things, it'll give us time to download the Ark's database to your ship, begin reviving more sleepers, and prepare Earth for what's coming." Diana turned to face Sarah fully. "Because make no mistake, Commander Chen, this was just the first skirmish. The Concordat will return in force once they realize humanity is reclaiming its heritage." Sarah felt a fierce pride surge through her. This was why humanity had been feared, not just for their technology, but for their ability to use it creatively, to adapt and overcome any challenge. "Then we'll be ready for them," she declared. "Earth has spent centuries rebuilding from nothing. Imagine what we can do with our true heritage restored." Over the next subjective weeks, as time crawled by outside their temporal bubble, the Ark became a university of lost knowledge. Sarah and her crew learned of humanity's true history, how they had independently developed technologies that other races had taken millennia to discover, how they had challenged the established order of the galaxy not through conquest, but through innovation and unconventional thinking. The Concordat had hoped to contain humanity by limiting their technology and erasing their memories. Instead, they had only proven humanity's greatest strength, the ability to rise from nothing, to rebuild, to overcome any obstacle through creativity and determination. As Diana and her fellow sleepers shared their knowledge, Sarah realized they weren't just reclaiming lost technology. They were reclaiming something far more important: the truth about humanity's potential and their rightful place among the stars. "We'll need to coordinate with Earth's governments," Sarah said as they prepared to lower the temporal barrier. "This knowledge, these capabilities, they'll change everything." Diana nodded. That's what the Concordat feared. But change is coming whether they like it or not. Humanity has slept long enough. It's time for us to wake up and remind the galaxy why they feared us in the first place. The barrier began to fade, and with it, humanity's long night of forgetting was coming to an end. The real question now was, how would Earth handle the truth about its past, and the challenge of facing those who had tried to erase it? The return to Earth changed everything. Sarah watched from the Pioneer's bridge as the Exodus Ark took up position behind Mars. its massive form hidden from casual observation by a suite of stealth systems that made Earth's best cloaking technology look primitive in comparison. In the 3 months since their return, humanity had proven why the Concordat had feared them so much. The speed with which Earth's scientists and engineers absorbed and adapted the Ark's knowledge was unprecedented, even by the standards of the awakened sleepers. "They're doing it again," Diana marveled, watching a test of Earth's newly modified defense systems, creating connections and applications we never even considered. The demonstration was impressive. Earth's existing satellite network had been upgraded with quantum nullification technology, but with a twist that even Diana hadn't anticipated. The engineers had combined it with modern neural network algorithms, creating an adaptive defense system that could predict and counter attacks before they were even launched. "Your people spent centuries developing AI and machine learning," Diana explained. "Technologies the Concordat largely ignored. Combining them with our quantum mechanics, it's brilliant." But the innovations didn't stop there. In facilities around the globe, humanity was doing what it did best, taking existing ideas and transforming them into something new. At the Singapore Technology Hub, scientists had merged the Ark's temporal barrier technology with modern miniaturization techniques, creating personal time dilation fields that could give soldiers or emergency responders extra hours to complete critical tasks. In Nairobi, researchers had adapted the Ark's energy reflection systems into a new form of sustainable power generation, promising to end Earth's energy concerns permanently. And in the orbital shipyards, the first of Earth's new defensive fleet was taking shape. These weren't copies of ancient human designs or Concordat vessels. They were something entirely new. "The Concordat thinks in straight lines," Dr. Rodriguez explained during a briefing. "Their ships are built around single, powerful weapon systems, but we've learned to think differently." The new Earth ships were smaller than Concordat vessels, but far more versatile. Each one carried dozens of interconnected systems that could work independently or combine in countless ways. It was like comparing a Swiss Army knife to a sledgehammer. "They'll expect us to try to match them in brute force," Sarah added. "Instead, we'll answer with adaptation and creativity." The real breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A team of video game designers, after studying the Ark's records of Concordat battle tactics, proposed a radical new approach to space combat. "They fight like NPCs in a game," the team's leader explained, "following established patterns, responding to threats in predictable ways. So let's use that against them." The result was a combat system that treated space warfare like a multiplayer game, with ships working together in ways that would seem chaotic and irrational to the Concordat's rigid tactical doctrine. But not everything was focused on military preparation. Humanity had learned from its past and was determined not to repeat old mistakes. In Antarctica, a new facility housed the Library of Alexandria II, a repository of human knowledge that combined the Ark's records with Earth's accumulated wisdom. This time, humanity would not lose its history. Diana and the other sleepers had been shocked to discover how much humanity had achieved despite the Concordat's attempt to suppress them. Art, music, literature, philosophy. Earth's culture had flourished even under technological constraints. Perhaps that's what they really feared, Diana mused one evening, watching a holographic performance of a symphony composed after the exile. Not just our technology, but our creativity, our ability to find beauty and meaning even in adversity. The warning came on a quiet Tuesday morning. Long-range sensors detected a massive Concordat fleet assembling at the edge of the solar system. This wasn't a scouting force. It was an armada intended to end humanity's resurgence once and for all. But Earth was ready. As defense platforms activated and ships moved into position, Sarah felt no fear. Humanity had spent 3 months preparing not just their technology, but their strategy. "They expect us to either cower in fear or rush out to meet them," she said during the final briefing. "Instead, we're going to show them something they've never seen before." The plan was audacious, combining every innovation Earth had developed. It would require perfect coordination, split-second timing, and more than a little luck. In other words, it was exactly the kind of thing humans excelled at. All ships, this is command. Sarah broadcast to the assembled fleet. Remember your training, trust your instincts, and most importantly, think creatively. That's humanity's greatest weapon, and it's time to use it. As the Concordat fleet approached, Sarah allowed herself a small smile. The aliens who had tried to make humanity forget were about to receive a memorable reminder of why they had feared them in the first place. The greatest innovation in human history wasn't any single piece of technology. It was humanity's ability to take the impossible and make it not just possible, but inevitable. The final battle for humanity's future was about to begin. The Concordat fleet emerged from hyperspace like a meteor shower of gleaming metal, thousands of ships arranged in perfect geometric formations. Their appearance was meant to intimidate, to showcase the overwhelming force that had once driven humanity into exile. But Earth's response was anything but intimidated. All ships, execute Operation Chaos Theory. Sarah commanded from the bridge of the newly commissioned EDS Prometheus, Earth's first quantum-enhanced battleship. Remember, unpredictability is our ally. The human fleet seemed to dissolve, ships breaking formation in what appeared to be random patterns. To the Concordat's tactical computers, it looked like panic, like the disorganized retreat of a primitive species. They couldn't have been more wrong. The first wave of Concordat ships launched their attack, massive energy weapons powering up in perfect synchronization. But their targets had already shifted, Earth's vessels moving in patterns based on complex fractal mathematics and gaming theory. Each dodge was calculated to look random while setting up the next phase of the battle. Neural networks confirmed they're following standard attack protocols, Maya reported from her tactical station. They're fighting exactly as their doctrine demands. Then let's show them something their doctrine never prepared them for, Sarah replied. Execute Phase 2. The real genius of Earth's defense wasn't in any single technology, but in how they combined everything at their disposal. Personal time dilation fields synchronized with quantum nullification barriers. AI-driven combat systems merged with ancient human weapons technology. Each ship became part of a vast, improvised symphony of destruction. The Concordat's perfect formations began to break apart as their attacks met only empty space or, worse, were reflected back at them by fields they couldn't predict or understand. Their attempts to adapt were hampered by millennia of rigid tactical thinking. But the true surprise came when the Exodus arc revealed itself from behind Mars. The ancient vessel had been modified, upgraded with every innovation Earth had developed over the past 3 months. It was no longer just a repository of human knowledge. It had become a symbol of humanity's ability to evolve and adapt. Signal from the Concordat flagship, Diana announced. They're demanding our surrender. Sarah opened a channel. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. We've spent centuries rebuilding from your betrayal, rediscovering our potential despite your attempts to suppress us. We won't be forgotten again. The Ark's main weapon powered up, not a traditional energy beam or missile, but something entirely new. It combined quantum mechanics with neural network processing to create a cascading wave of probability manipulation. Reality itself seemed to ripple as it activated. Concordat ships began to phase out of normal space-time, their perfectly coordinated fleet falling into chaos as local cause and effect became unpredictable. It wasn't destruction. Humanity had learned that lesson from their past. Instead, it was disruption on a fundamental level. Their entire command and control network is collapsing, Maya reported with a hint of awe. They can't coordinate their actions anymore. The remaining Concordat ships began to retreat, their rigid battle doctrine useless against an enemy that refused to fight according to established rules. But Sarah wasn't finished. Broadcast on all frequencies, she ordered. To the Concordat and all spacefaring civilizations, humanity has reclaimed its heritage. We remember who we are and what we can achieve. But we're not the same species you feared centuries ago. The quantum cascade faded, leaving the surviving Concordat ships intact but thoroughly defeated. Sarah continued, "We don't seek revenge or dominion. What we want is what we've always wanted: the freedom to explore, to create, to push boundaries that others thought immutable. You tried to make us forget who we were. Instead, you forced us to become something even more remarkable." In the days that followed, as the Concordat fleet limped home and news of their defeat spread across the galaxy, humanity began to receive messages from other civilizations. Some were fearful, others curious, but most were eager to establish contact with the species that had done the impossible twice. First by rebuilding from nothing, then by defeating the Concordat using technologies and techniques no one had imagined possible. The Library of Alexandria II opened its doors to alien scholars, sharing knowledge freely. Earth's innovations in combining different technologies began to transform the galaxy. The rigid hierarchies and technological stagnation that had defined interstellar society for millennia began to crack. "They thought they could make us forget," Diana said, standing with Sarah in the Prometheus's observation dome, watching ships from a dozen alien civilizations approach Earth peacefully. "But they forgot something fundamental about human nature." "What's that?" Sarah asked, though she already knew the answer. "That our greatest strength isn't our technology or our knowledge. It's our ability to lose everything and still find new ways to rebuild, to take separate pieces and combine them into something greater than the sum of their parts." As Earth took its place among the stars once again, it wasn't as the civilization the Concordat had feared. It was as something new, a species that had faced extinction and exile, yet emerged stronger, wiser, and more innovative than ever before. The Great Betrayal had failed. Humanity hadn't just been remembered. They had become unforgettable. And in the vast archive halls of the Library of Alexandria II, a new inscription was carved in dozens of languages, both human and alien. To forget is human. To remember is to live. To innovate is to become immortal. The story of humanity's exile was over. The story of their renaissance was just beginning.